Hello and welcome to the Health Bar Half Full podcast, the podcast that makes you feel good about liking games. We got lots of stuff to talk about here, but before I do anything, I have to introduce my co-host, the celebrity co-host, megastar, YouTube sensation, Platinum Journey's own Adam McDermott. Adam.
Yeah, I'm a big deal, folks. Big deal.
You're a heck of a lot bigger of a deal than I am. It's funny because when we started doing podcasts together, like, I had more subscribers than you, and your subscribers have like exponentially increased, and mine have remained the same. We podcasted 10 years ago.
Like having a family and doing real world things, and I was busy just continuing playing games and making videos about them.
Becoming a celebrity. Yes, got it.
Yeah, big time celebrity.
Yeah, so here, this episode is going to be us talking about this podcast. Mostly, we're going to kind of go through a trial run. Let's call this the pilot episode. But we really wanted, we miss doing podcasts together. And for me personally, I listen to podcasts, and a lot of them are just kind of bummers. Like, it's warranted, but at the same time, like, sometimes I want a little happiness in my life, and I'm going to provide that to you. I'm going to try to give that to you. Me and Adam here are going to be as happy as can be. We're going to take our happy pills and talk about the world of games and feel good about liking this hobby. Yeah, so
some folks call that ecstasy, but
some people do. If you want to get caught, we're recording, so I'm gonna have to cut that part out. Like, yes, happy pills, whatever. Yeah. So, how's life, Adam?
Pretty good. I get to talk to you this evening, so I'm pretty happy.
That's very exciting. You have been killing it. I was kind of blowing smoke your way a little bit, but you've got yourself an audience. You've got yourself a workflow and stuff that just works for you. I enjoy watching your content. I'm very, very happy for you. I'm very proud of you since last we spoke, which was literally 10 years ago. Oh, was when we last did this.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm honored. It's always so cool when folks I meet and they're like, I actually do watch your videos. It's like, really? Don't you have anything better to do with your time? But that's okay.
No, I don't. I wish I did, because I would be more productive that way. But instead, I turn your soothing Irish voice on and just go about my day.
Speaking of that, you've got a great voice as well. But also,
thank you so much.
I found out that my brother's friends watch my videos. And I've met a few of them, and they're like, Adam, it's you. I watch your videos, which is nice. One of them I met about 2 weeks ago. I said, like, watch video. I'm kind of curious, like, which ones do you watch? He says, all of them. And he just puts on the playlist. And he said his favorite videos are actually the multi-hour Q&A sessions. So he puts those on, and then he can fall asleep to them. So he doesn't know where he ever falls asleep to. It's like ASMR for him.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've definitely turned stuff on for background noise. I could not fall asleep to a video. That would drive me crazy. My wife tries. She does, actually, and it just means I can't fall asleep until she does, because if there's something on, I'm not sleeping. That's just how I am. But that's fantastic that people watch your stuff.
I do generally fall asleep to podcasts, but the TV thing, couldn't do that.
White noise. I have a blaringly loud, just the whole. That's what gets me to go to sleep.
Really?
Yeah, I'm weird.
Okay, you're not alone. I'm sure there are other folks who do that as well.
Well, I can tell you there's a big YouTube, I guess, market for that sort of thing, because that's my white noise machine. Is I load up a video on YouTube that is 24 straight hours of that noise, and I blast it as loud as can be, and that's what I sleep to. Yeah.
Okay, sounds soothing.
Well, I'm very happy things are going well for you. Let's talk about what this podcast is, shall we?
Wait, do you want to talk about you? How are things going in your life? You've had no recent major developments, no?
Yeah, I was going to save that for the end, but if we're going to do it now. I've been laid off. Yeah, happiness podcast. It's just what perfect timing to start a podcast about happiness. Super happy. Yeah, so I was in the game industry, and as is the custom, there was a restructuring at my company, and my job was affected. And so that's the bad news. The good news is I'm trying to be optimistic about it. I've got time to do a podcast now. I didn't before. Hooray. Woo. and then watch me get a job tomorrow, and then this be the last episode of the podcast.
Enjoy while it lasts, folks. We don't know what's going to happen. Randy might get his own director's job or something. Who knows?
Oh, that would be awesome, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But until that time, we're pumping out happy content. Happiness, happy, very, very excited. Yes. I am actually looking at it as a silver lining. I was pretty burnt out. I was working really hard. And it's nice to wake up every day and say, I'm going to do something I want to work on instead of something I have to. And I haven't been able to do that in actual years. Very, very long time. Probably since the last time we did this podcast, ironically enough.
Yeah. Are you working on like an old game of your own, or you were tinkering away with something, aren't you?
I am working on a game of my own, and I guess I'll say it here. If you go to tinyurl.com/in-corporeal, you can wishlist it on Steam.
I didn't know this.
Yes. It is there for you on Steam. I've been advertising it on this YouTube channel, with the countless millions of subscribers that I have, so it's going to be a hit. So that's what's going on there. If you want to check out my game, once again, that's tinyurl.com/in-corporeal. And I'll probably edit the link into this somewhere so you can do that. It's got placeholder art right now, but it's, making games is hard. I'm having a lot of fun making it.
Let the fine folks know what we're covering today.
Well, today we're going to, let's see here. We're going to talk about what we're excited about in terms of news or what's coming up in the world of games. We're also going to talk about some old games. For some reason, we decided right before we started recording that we're going to talk about games released in the year 2000. Because why not? It's a nice round number. 24 years ago. Nice, perfect. Mm-hmm. The 24th anniversary of the year 2000. That's when most people do their celebrating. We're also going to talk about Elden Ring because one of the topics is Elden Ring adjacent. Not Elden Ring adjacent. It's directly related to Elden Ring. And Adam, you've been playing Elden Ring for your platinum journey, your famous mega show that hit, with your millions of subscribers.
Martin Scorsese commented on my last episode.
Yes, and because you're doing better than he is with his most recent release that did not perform very well at the box office. So.
Did Killer's the Moon? Did it not?
No, there's one after that. What, Megalopolis, I believe is the name of it. Wait, who did you say? That's Francis Ford Coppola. Gosh darn it. Yeah. Mixing my auteurs up. But that's okay. No, but also Francis Ford Coppola commented on your videos as well, I believe. So he was the episode before. That's why I got it mixed up. It was one right after the other. Yeah, how it is.
Me and my fellow auteurs,
your auteur following, yes. And then I have even though this is a podcast about happiness, I do want to get a little bit of pessimism in there because I don't want to be delusional. There's some bad stuff too, so we're gonna talk about our bugaboos right at the end, and that's what we're gonna do. So how about we get started?
Good.
All right, so today. We were scrambling to find news that we're excited about, and this one is kind of interesting because I'm spinning it like a positive, even though on paper it doesn't look like one. According to From Software, they have no plans to develop an Elden Ring 2. I stole that from Video Games Chronicle from an article by Tom Ivan. And
oh no, Randy, if you say where you got it from, it's just it's not stealing anymore. We can just
Yes, pay me money for relaying that information, please.
There you go. See? Wheeling and dealing.
Yes, I actually talked to From Software, and they said this to me via Tom Ivan. Somehow, yes. But I don't know, Adam, what do you feel about that? Because you're very, very deep into Elden Ring. I haven't played Elden Ring in a while, but I really liked it when I played it. So how are your thoughts?
It's not surprising, because the only sequel they've ever done is Dark Souls. In the Souls universe. I know they got other games. Yeah,
because they had, Kingsfield or whatever. There's been a few of those, but no one talks about those because that was before. That was the before times. That was the From Software that doesn't exist.
So was it Armored Core?
Armored Core, well? Yes. Armored Core 6. So they've done sequels, but I agree with you in spirit where it doesn't. They tend to move on to the next thing after they have their hit. If you want to get real technical about it, Dark Souls is not a sequel to Demon Souls, even though it kind of is, right?
Okay,
It's the same,
elaborate.
it's the same. What I mean by that
I haven't
is that
played them, so go on.
I mean, Demon Souls is Demon Souls. Dark Souls is Dark Souls 1, and then there is a Dark Souls 2. So it is a spiritual successor, but it is not a sequel.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and we talked a little bit before this that Elden Ring kind of is the logical conclusion to that formula. Like they figured it out, and where do you go from there other than to say, let's just do it again? And is that interesting?
Yeah. If as in what could they add? Could they make a bigger? Even now they're doing the big expansion,
Right.
which like you know.
So they just add more. They added more stuff already. So do you add more stuff again? Do you? I mean, the formula works, and it was such a massive hit, and I am surprised though. I will say I do think it's a positive because A, it means they can move on to something else. B, like Elden Ring can just continue to exist as this just beginning to end perfect entity that anyone can go back to at any time. I'm kind of a sucker for that, where I'm like, oh man, this thing just exists and I can just go to it. It doesn't feel outdated. When Elden Ring 2 comes out, Elden Ring 1 automatically just feels a little bit outdated. Now that's not going to happen, at least not for a long time. So I'm happy about that. But it also means that From Software gets to do something else now. And every time they do something else, it's always really interesting. Bloodborne is like a really good twist on that formula. If you want to do something like that, maybe a Bloodborne 2. I mean, I wouldn't put that out there, I guess, and because that'd be crazy. Why would you make a sequel to that thing? But yeah, I don't know. I'm glad to see what else they're going to do next. How about you?
I would. Yeah, I don't know what you could add more to it. Even Elden Ring, I'm looking at it, I barely feel like I scratched the surface. I played as a character with a big weapon and bash people on the head. I didn't know that there's something you can do called like just a club playthrough where you can do. I didn't even touch magic.
Yeah,
so that's a thing you can do. So even
yeah.
in my spare time, have went back and like, let me just see if I can beat players with beat others with just a club, or what if I gotta figure out how magic works, and then I wouldn't mind doing a magic playthrough.
Yeah,
I didn't options.
I didn't finish Elden Ring. I got really. I don't know if I got really far. I don't know when the game ends. I told you where I was, percentage wise. Do you like? Would you say like?
What was the name of the last boss you faced?
I don't know.
Okay.
It was so long ago.
Oh no! I remember. You got to the capital.
Yes.
So you were about maybe halfway in.
Stop it! Really? Only halfway?
I would say so.
And yet they want.
Like, did you just get to the beginning of the capital, or were you deep into it?
I was pretty deep into it.
Maybe like 60%.
That's unacceptable. That's crazy. I was because I have like 70 hours or like 50 or something like that.
Oh. Okay, maybe around 70% then.
All right. Well,
I'd say if my platinum run was 90 hours, and that's doing all the bosses.
Yeah, that's platinum. So regardless, I do kind of intend to play it again, and I kind of want to start over because it's been so long since I played it, and I don't feel bad about it because one, I don't really have a great understanding of what's going on in terms of the lore, so I guess I could get another pass on that, and maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll do it in front of an audience. Maybe I'll have a guide up that shows me what it is I'm looking at. I don't know. But also because, as you said, there's a million different ways you can play it. There's a million different areas you can explore. That there are plenty of places I didn't look at. I got to some places and then got completely creamed, and I'm thinking, okay, I can't be here right now. And I still never reached those places. And this, like, I found them very early on. I'm like, okay, one of these days I'm coming back. And then I would level up and go back to those places like, now I'm ready, baby. Here we go. Nope.
Yeah.
Still not ready. Yeah.
Like, what was your favorites of... Oh, yeah, first of all, which of the series have you played?
All of them?
Oh.
I played through Demon Souls after Dark Souls. I was in college when I played Dark Souls, and I loved it. And I went back and played Demon Souls. It was stuck on the PS3, and I used my roommate's PS3, because I didn't have one, and played through that. I believe that's how that happened. And
could I get a quick ranking from you of best to worst? Or if you want to classify it as favorite to least favorite?
Yep. Are we going to talk Sekiro and Bloodborne in there too?
Yeah, it's the whole Souls thing.
Then I would say Dark Souls 1, or wait, which order? Reverse order? Or best to worst?
Yeah, let's do your least favorite to your favorite.
My least favorite, Dark Souls 3.
Okay.
My second least favorite, Dark Souls 2.
Okay.
My third least favorite, Sekiro. Keep in mind, I like all these games to varying degrees. Like you're talking like, what's your least favorite of some of the greatest games ever made, right? So I don't. Yeah. It's not fair to it. This is a happy podcast. I love these games.
Yeah, but why in particular do you hate Sekiro?
Yes. Why is it the worst game ever made? I can tell you because I suck at it, and it's the game's fault. Yeah, I am bad at it, but it was very interesting and fun. I didn't finish that one either.
It can get quite tough towards the end.
Oh yeah, I do want to go back to it again at some point. But yeah, so followed by, where are we at now? What do I have left?
That's got Bloodborne, Dark Souls 1, Demon Souls, and Elden Ring.
Okay, so then I would say Demon Souls is next, followed by Bloodborne, Elden Ring, and Dark Souls in that order.
How come Dark Souls 1 is your favorite and Dark Souls 3 and 2 are down at the bottom?
Dark Souls 1 is like it is so tightly designed, it is so compact, there is nothing wasted in it whatsoever. I am in terms of level design, it might be the greatest level design in any game ever made. The way that the world is interconnected, you don't need fast travel in that game, and it does, because it's like a Metroidvania kind of world where you go back to earlier areas and stuff like that. Elden Ring has little mini areas that are like that, but it's still in this larger world that you need to travel around, so it doesn't feel quite the same place. I had such a strong relationship with that world in Dark Souls 1, where when I went back to an area, and I didn't even know the world was like this when I first started playing the game, and then when I ended up back at a place that I was when I started, I'm like, oh my God, this is just all one thing. This is just one big thing. This is blowing my mind. It's like it's a web, but it doesn't feel like it feels so tightly.
Yeah.
It's just so good. And I think it has some of my favorite bosses, most memorable bosses, obviously, like all of the names are escaping me, but the dual one where you're fighting the small guy and the big guy at the same time, like was like one of the greatest gaming achievements ever at the time, where it's like Ornstein and something, right? Something like that. But
I haven't played them.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's really it. It was just like the level design was perfect. And it was right at the time where I felt like open world stuff was getting fatiguing, and it felt fatiguing. Even it still feels fatiguing in some ways to me, depending on how they do it. Elden Ring is an exception because it truly feels open, as opposed to other worlds that do not. They just feel like, oh, here's a linear game that we're going to make you have to travel between the missions, which is what a lot of open world games are.
Yeah. Did Bloodborne had a bit of that in the levels? They'd kind of loop back
it did
and make shortcuts.
It did, but you sometimes reach dead ends and stuff like that, so it wasn't perfect. You still had to travel back. You had to travel to different sections. It was pretty linear in terms of a progression. It wasn't necessarily a loop around. And all of the Dark Souls after that, Dark Souls 2 and 3, were both just linear, straight through games. And not that they were bad, but they just didn't. I didn't have that relationship with the world in the same way.
I can understand that. It's pretty cool. I've only done 3 of them so far: Bloodborne, Sekiro, and Elden Ring.
Yeah, well, and that's why I think Elden Ring is number 2, because it goes in the other direction with it, which is like this open world feels like it needs to be here. It doesn't. You couldn't do this without this world, and it does it in such a good way.
And I like that you will venture off one direction and face a boss who will crush you.
Yeah.
Now, the stubbornness and the old school mentality, like, get good.
Get good.
So you'll bash your head against the wall until the game tells you, no. Go south. Go the other direction. Look at all over there. Explore. Level up. Go wander.
Yes. Which was great, right? That's kind of like a really smart way to design challenge, in the sense that eventually you can brute force your way around it by going and doing something else, getting more powerful, and coming back. And I did that a few times, where there was I want to say a gargoyle boss that just was rock because you start fighting this gargoyle. I want to say it's a gargoyle, and then he was already tough on his own, and then another one shows up and it says like, "Hey, guess what? I'm here too."
I know.
And I'm like,
I know.
No. And if we're talking about positivity and happiness, I played that boss on the Steam Deck, which was awesome. Like that was like a great, holy crap, we're in the future moment for me, where I'm like, oh, you couldn't. This is perfection, and I beat that boss on the Steam Deck, which was, I was probably in bed. I think I was in bed when it happened.
I remember when the PS Vita came out, and it was initially billed as, this is PlayStation in your hands, but it wasn't quite that.
It was almost there. There was an Uncharted on it.
Yeah.
I've never played it though. Is it any good? Did you play it?
I haven't played it either. It meant to be okay. But yeah, you want that. You want the latest game being able to be on. Yeah, the Steam Deck's incredible. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a topic. File that away to talk about the Steam Deck and how awesome that thing is. Yeah, so I do desperately want to go back and play Elden Ring again and start fresh. And I kind of want to stream it because that's a game that a lot of people are very passionate about and they're very willing to help you through it. And that's kind of something that I want, which is I played through Fallout, the original Fallout, on stream. And it was a really good experience because everyone was helping me through it. And I got around a lot of the quirks of it being that old of a game because people were just like, yeah, this is bugged and the only way around it is to do this. And I'm just going to tell you that if you just do this and then you can bypass this garbage. I'm like, oh, great. That's fantastic.
Do you remember when the From Software online community had a terrible reputation as just so elitist and dismissive of newcomers? They get good.
I do remember that actually, and there's probably some truth to that because they were loud. Those type of individuals.
But your bit of positivity, I found the folks around the Elden Ring are like, what? They're very kind of how to put it. They'll back you up. Like if you didn't know something, instead of calling you an idiot, someone will chime in like, yeah, I didn't know that was a thing either. Yeah. I was doing this dumbass way until someone told me.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and maybe this is because I'm trying to be anyway, more positive person. And when I'm streaming, I'm trying to be more positive and I'm very nice to people. I hope I attract that mentality. But also people just want to like hang out and enjoy the things that they enjoy with someone else. Like it's a fun feeling. You know, I'm a Resident Evil person. I like Resident Evil. And there are times where I see people playing Resident Evil for the first time and experiencing that. And I'm kind of living through that again. I get to see what they see through vicariously, right? It's a fun experience, and I think a lot of people have that.
Be excited, like, oh, Nemesis is coming up.
Oh yeah, I wonder how he's gonna. Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. And I think Elden Ring. I think that community is looking for that because they want that experience again. They want to feel that through someone else again. So, yeah.
I'm going back through with all my footage from Elden Ring. And it took me until, I would say, maybe 15, 16 hours in until I learned. Whoops. There goes my microphone.
It's okay. Positivity. Even the microphone is excited.
My microphone was jumping for joy. But it was until like, I'd say maybe 15 hours. Then I realized you can fast travel from anywhere. So what I was doing is I was always sitting at the site of graves. Because then it would say, bring up your map. So I bring up the map, then I could travel to other points. And I'm used to sort of The Witcher.
Yeah, The Witcher does that, which is what I was going to say.
So that's what I thought. You had to go to the fast travel point to fast travel. I thought the fast travel points were the sites of grace because that's where you end up.
So this is a fun game design thing that I'm going to talk to you about. Now, you probably had a less than ideal experience as a result of that.
Well, yes and no. It did lead to some hilarity when I got transported to a random place.
Yes, so you open that chest and you got transported. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about, and that's the example I was going to give. That's funny until you can't get out of there. If you didn't know that you could fast travel once you got outside, because you're in like a cave when that happens, and you can run your way through. Once you're outside, you can fast travel away because you're not supposed to be in that area. you're kind of screwed. Like you're not going to be if you didn't know.
I know. I sat there with the map I didn't even have filled out when I got to go west. That's all I know. My side of grace is west. So I got to go through this rotten lake and I got to jaunt past a dragon and try and find any side of grace.
Yes.
So there was an additional 20 minutes of nonsense when I could have just opened my map. And
I wonder,
done.
you could have like a fun gameplay challenge, like a YouTube challenge, only travel when I'm at a site of grace.
I did that for the first 15 hours.
There you go. Smash cut. But yeah, The Witcher does that because they kind of want you to be immersed in that world. The Witcher is another example where I like the open world. And it's kind of for that reason where, man, it feels like I'm here and exploring, and the world is kind of a challenge all of its own. And you have to go to the signs, the crossroad signs to fast travel. And that with the illusion being like, oh, I'm going to wait here until a carriage comes and picks me up. And that's the picture you're painting yourself when you reach those fast travel points.
I would like that to be a toggle, because when you're going for the platinum, after a while, I just want to get to I need to get to here to get the item. Can I just go there?
How would you feel if after you beat the game, then it let you do that?
That would work, yeah.
Yeah.
After you beat any game, I want to be just God.
Yes, like the toolbox. Just let me transport directly to this trophy trigger is essentially what
Yeah,
that would kind of make it a little less of an accomplishment if you could just teleport directly to it.
You could do the near style, which is just buy the trophies with in-game credits.
Yeah.
That was great.
Was that
I finished.
Oh, wait, so hold on. Is there a platinum journey of Nier where you bought the trophies?
No. There's a trophy for looking up her skirt 10 times. And I was like, okay, one to be like a little side. Of course I bought that. No, I did old school.
Yeah, so you yes. You did old school by looking up skirts like they did in the old days.
That was just the times.
Yeah. Speaking of Resident Evil, like when in Resident Evil 4, when you'd look up Ashley's skirt and there would be like a little interaction there when that happened. And then they took that out of the remake because that's the right answer. Yeah.
So I finished the initial story, and then Nier Automata has 3 endings, and I got all 3 endings normally. You play with 3 different characters. But by doing that, I had so many credits left over. I was kind of curious how this buying a trophy thing works, so I just bought one.
Yeah, and you look at it, then, I don't want to do that. I'll buy that one.
Yeah, so I just kept going. I meant, do I have enough for all the remaining trophies? Turns out I did. I was just sitting there for like 5 minutes going, ding, 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 ding. Platinum.
Now, can you buy all the trophies?
Yes.
Okay. So could I make a platinum journey that's like 45 seconds long where I buy all the trophies?
You have to buy them with in-game credits, and you earn in-game credits by playing through the game.
Which is good because I don't have the money to do that. And I would be too tempted to do that based on what I just said out loud because that sounds funny.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah. Now I'm a little disappointed. Got to get happy again. Elden Ring is a great game. So I don't want to make a promise that I'm going to stream it because I still, there's people waiting for me to finish the games I'm already streaming. So I need to do that. And there's, I'm streaming Doom 2 for some reason because I was having fun. And I'm also streaming the original Deus Ex because someone requested it. And those 2 games I need to stick with until either I give up on them, which I love Doom 2, and I seem to like Deus Ex, so I probably won't give up on them until they're done.
Yeah.
Or start something else when they're done. And maybe it'll be Elden Ring. Who knows? Yeah. So that's Elden Ring and several other things. But it was prompted by Elden Ring. Yeah, so you're done with your platinum journey now? Or you haven't put the video up, but you've got the footage and everything?
Yeah, 30 hours of footage. I'm currently going back through and logging. Then I'll write the voiceover.
I expect the YouTube video to be roughly 30-ish hours then?
Oh, yeah.
You just put it on the background.
Wedge them together, and
yes,
there you
go. That's. Hey, I don't know if you've seen my YouTube channel, but that's kind of what it was. Like hit record, see what happens, and then put it up, and then that's all good.
It's called the director's cut.
Exactly. The director's cut being nothing is cut. That's what the director did. All right. So that's Elden Ring, and like the story about Elden Ring that there isn't going to be a sequel. We kind of knocked them both out at once. But also something we're kind of excited about, and this contrasts with some other individuals that are pretty cynical about this, but the Game Awards are coming up here. The exact date I don't have off the top of my head.
See, you're not a real fan like me. December 12th.
All right. Well, I should have just asked you. December 12th. I love watching the Game Awards personally. So, yeah, who knows, the business practices behind it. I wish they spent more time on the awards. It's not perfect, but it's just fun. Like, it just feels like a celebration of games, and that's kind of what we're going for, right? We want to feel good about games. And that's what that does. A lot of people on the other end, when they don't get the announcement they want or something like that, or maybe their favorite game doesn't win, they get a little irritable. But
yeah,
I don't know.
The show has been getting better. Yes, I think the most common criticism is when somebody wins the award, after 5 seconds, don't try and rush them off stage. If you just tell every person you get 30 seconds and we're not going to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Just give them 30 seconds. Don't be like, get off.
Here's the award, and now we're playing music.
Yeah. Also, if you're going to give awards out off stage, don't have it as a category.
Yeah.
It's so phony when it cuts over to Jeff off stage, like, and by the way, best multiplayer is this. And
here's the 12 awards no one cares about. Blah, 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 blah.
Just don't have them as awards.
Yeah, and we didn't invite them because they're not important enough to get on stage. I assume they were invited. I'm just at that. That was me being cynical for a second. They were probably there in the audience getting their awards. I want to talk to you about, we're not going to go through the entire categories.
Ooh.
But I kind of want to talk to you about the game of the year and what you think should or shouldn't win based on keeping in mind, I've only played 2 of the nominees.
Okay, can I get what are they, first of all?
Yes, I will tell you. The nominees for the game of the year for the Game Awards 2024 are Metaphor ReFantazio, Astrobot, Metaphor ReFantazio.
Yes, I know that.
So that's your front runner to win, I assume, based on your reaction.
I was surprised they hadn't already won.
Yeah, before the show. Yes, absolutely. it was. Sorry, guys. It's too obvious who's going to win, so we're not holding the show this year. We already gave it to Metaphor ReFantazio. It's a game I want to play. Do you know what Persona is?
Yeah.
It's fantasy Persona. Yes.
Hang on, how do I say meta what?
Metaphor, like the word metaphor.
Okay, here, ReFantazio. I've literally never heard of this. I'm not even kidding. It's from the folks who made Persona.
Yes.
And it came out this year.
Yeah.
I was allegedly after Persona 5, they really where can you go from it? That seemed to be the kind of their Elden Ring, we're done.
Right. Well, exactly. So now they're like, let's do fantasy instead of Japanese teenagers.
High school.
Yeah. So that's your front runner. We got that. I will relist the nominees for the Game Awards 2024 for Game of the Year. The nominees are Metaphor ReFantazio, again, the winner. Astrobot, Black Myth Wukong, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, and Balatro. Those are your Game of the Year nominees for the Game Awards.
So it feels a little less than stellar. Because...
How do you mean?
One's an expansion, one's a part of a remake.
I do want to talk to you about your thoughts about expansions being eligible.
I think no.
Okay, I think yes. So I'm curious where your stance is.
Because it's an expansion, it's not a game.
Yes. At the same time, it's a new experience, right? If they were to release it as is, but you could buy it by itself, it would be eligible. People would count it as a brand new game. The only difference is that it requires a previous game.
I don't know. But it's not a sequel either, is it?
No, it is not.
Oh, yeah. Personally, I think there's just a gut feeling of it's not. Sorry, I hit my mic again.
That's okay.
That it's not a new game. It's an expansion.
I'll phrase it to you this way. You're familiar with the Spider-Man games by Insomniac.
Yeah.
And would you say Miles Morales would have been eligible for the year when it came out?
I would say yes, because that is, how do I put it? That's almost as long as the actual main Spider-Man game.
It's not. You think it is, but it's not. I just played through it recently. It's much shorter. And it uses the same map. It more or less has the same enemies. It is an expansion in all but name and purchasability, because you can buy it by itself.
Damn, that's a good argument.
That's my point, is that if you were to just say, like, oh, if it requires Marvel Spider-Man to play, everyone would say it's an expansion, and then suddenly it's ineligible. But no one says that, because you buy it on its own. So in my opinion, it's a new experience. It just requires an old experience.
Okay, so the pushback would be, it did feel like it was something new because it was taking Miles Morales as the forefront.
Yes.
Whereas the Elden Ring expansion is the same character continuing.
That's true, but so is God of War Ragnarok, as opposed to God of War.
You could...
I know what you're saying.
Just it's a big game with new areas with
So here's the one argument I will entertain, which is that yes, your character, right? It's progression. Your character's progression is the same. Your character, when you level up that character, when your experience points, you said you play with your giant weapon. That's the character that's going into this expansion with the same experience points, the same, and no one is going to have that same experience. Your character is yours. So in that way, it does just feel like another area of the game, right? It's tough. Like I can see the argument either way, but in my opinion, like, it's so much work was put into it that it's basically a brand new game. And if they had just put it in a box by itself and sold it and said Elden you could, and as Elden Ring 2 or Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, just without the requirement, and said, oh, you can import your character if you want, then no one would say this. It's just that it requires Elden Ring is the problem.
And if they called it, instead of an expansion, a spin-off.
Yes, or a standalone, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. Regardless, it's moot because it is nominated for the Game of the Years, whether we like it or not.
Yeah. So what do you think is going to win?
It's a good question. I'm gonna. Part of me thinks Elden Ring's gonna win because it won the year that it came out. Why not just it? So I can see the news stories now, like Elden Ring wins Game of the Year twice.
Yeah. I would Metamorphosis? Metaphor.
Yeah.
Or just Metaphor. Okay.
Which has already won.
That's an original game.
It is.
And it's like production value.
Yeah, and it's well received. People like it. I mean, it's nominated, so people have to like it. None of these, except if you listen to me, none of these are wrong answers except Final Fantasy VII.
Why?
I didn't love it.
Okay.
I loved the remake. Final Fantasy VII Remake. One. Yes. And remember, so when we go back to open world fatigue that I was talking about, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Okay.
There you go. Like, I was so bored running around doing those checklists, and it's kind of required. Too much of it is required. And there's a lot of pointless mini games, a lot of them not good. The story is... The pacing of the story is all off because it's open world, right? The Final Fantasy is all about the story, but because there's so much side stuff, like it kind of this urgent thing that would have like really cool narrative momentum if you were to just go through the story, feels like it just disappears for hours because it does. Like, you don't really progress in the story, and because it's also a middle chapter of a complete story, it itself does not feel like a complete story.
And you already know that going in, you're not getting a conclusion. And
yes.
You're not getting the same wonder from the first part, which was like, oh, they remade everything.
Yeah, how did they do this? And also, like, the first one was tighter. It wasn't open world. It had some side quests, but not anything that was too distracting. And they felt more optional. So there was a lot more narrative momentum in the first one. It did have an abrupt ending, but it also had an abrupt ending with a twist to the original story that made me think like, huh, okay, they're doing something. I don't want to spoil what happens in Final Fantasy VII, but I was not impressed with what they did at the end.
Okay. On a more positive note, Balatro, have you heard? You've obviously heard about it. Have
Yes.
you played it yet?
I have not played it yet. I want to, but I have not played it yet. I also
I'm a
think
little
so.
bit-
When you asked me what I think is going to win, that was actually up there in my brain, like because that's the other news story that I see, like first time small or solo developer wins game of the year, something like that, right? You can see the news stories. It's a cool, it's a feel good story.
Yeah. I'm a little bit afraid of it because
Heck yeah.
I'm not sure because it's cards, you understand it, but it's a
Yeah.
roguelike card, which means it's potentially infinite, and there are only so many free hours in the day. I feel that one. So if you look up how how long to beat, for the finish the main stuff is like
The story.
8 hours, whatever.
Yeah.
Then if you want to do everything, it's 100 plus. And
Yeah,
you're going like,
100,000.
Oh, I'd probably start doing that.
Yeah. Well, once there's a PlayStation version, you'll have to do a Platinum Journey. That'll be fun. I would watch that. Everybody would watch that. So let's hold out hope for that. Yeah. There's a mobile version. So if you feel,
I'm not putting that in my phone, Randy. I'd never get anything done.
Yeah. I'm not a big phone game person. Personally, I just don't like the interface. I don't know, something about it, but yeah, I think Balatro is a good candidate. I think it's got to be either Elden Ring or Balatro. Personally, I don't see the other. I mean, there's Black Myth Wukong, which was really big internationally, but not in the United States, where I feel like most of the voters are from. I don't think it hit that hard. I never played it, so I have no opinion on it. Do you want to know what I want to win?
Okay, yes.
Astrobot.
Metaphor. What?
I love Astrobot.
I was surprised by how good it was. I assumed it
It's
would be
amazing.
like okay, and it'd be cute, but from folks who played it, the response is this is one of the best 3D platformers ever made.
It probably is, and I don't. There's not that many best platformers ever made, right? If you think about like, there's The Bar, which is like arguably Mario, and then there's a big gulf between the next best thing and Mario. So there's plenty of room there to get closer. I would say it actually surpasses some Mario games, though. It's that good, in my opinion. I had a lot of fun with it, and you're a big PlayStation guy, so you'd probably, did you play it?
No.
If you'd get tickled by all of the nostalgia from all the PlayStation characters and stuff.
So I already had that with the free version that comes to PS5. So I'm kind of, it's okay. I'm good. I'm ready to.
But it's not just that. It's just a well-made game with fun mechanics and good level design. So I would recommend it to people that don't even have an attachment to PlayStation.
If I get on sale, even with the first one being for free, I was like, I wouldn't have paid for it.
Yeah. Well, maybe you're not a platformer guy, or a big
not my preference.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I am, a huge platformer guy. So I would love Astrobot to win. It's not going to happen. But yeah. But I think it's between Elden Ring and Balatro. Personally, I think the fact that Elden Ring is even nominated kind of tells you what that means, because that means enough people wrote it in that they wanted it there.
Yeah.
So for me, that's my best guess. And also like the story of, it won it twice. Like that writes itself.
I'm personally just glad I found out that the folks who made Persona have made something new. I was wondering what they were doing after Persona 5.
I guarantee you there's going to be a Persona 6, but in the meantime,
I really want to get into Persona. I really want to get into Persona.
I devour those games when they come out.
Really?
Persona 5, when that came out, and it took me 80, 90 hours to finish. I can't stand saying that out loud, but it's true. I wish games weren't that long, but it didn't feel like it. I don't know. It felt like binging a TV show that has been on the air for 10 years or something like that, right?
Yes.
That's the way it felt for me, where it's like, oh, I got another episode. I'm going into this dungeon. It's another episode of this TV show today.
Oh, sweet. Now, I do have a quandary.
Yeah.
Do you start with 5, or do you start with and work your way back, or do you start with 3, even though it's, mechanically might not be as easy as accessible?
So they remade 3
with an awful lot of quality of life updates.
Yes.
Or... Oh, okay.
So it's, what is it called? Reloaded? Persona 3. Persona 3 Reload. Persona 3 Reload. Present tense.
Okay.
And yes, I have not played it. I played Persona 3, but I did not play the Reload. And from what I hear, it is very, very good. I might recommend that to start. And you'll kind of know, but once you, in my opinion, once you get to 5, it would be hard to go back.
That's the other thing. It's like if you start if you start Metal Gear Solid on 4, and then okay, now go back to 2, and it's like, oh, why is he so weird to move? And I was like, oh.
Yeah. Although you could just play 5. You don't have to play all of them.
Randy, I'm going to play one if I like. I won't play the others.
Well, plus you got platinum journeys to make, and plenty of
that. In the background, I'm looking up the trophy estimated time.
Yeah, see, exactly
60 to 70
for Persona 3.
Yeah,
that's not bad.
Reload.
That's not bad.
Okay,
that's like an Elden Ring.
That's less.
That's
so
less
kind
than
of in my
Elden
head. I find it difficult to dive into a series from the end. If I'm going to do platinum journeys about them, for example, I did Devil May Cry 1 last year, Devil May Cry 2 this year, next year DMC 3.
Having a yearly Persona would be awesome. Like that would be like just a good thing to have in your life.
I got a yearly Resident Evil. I'm all the way up to next year's 5. So it's been 5 years of Resident Evils for me. I did 4, and then I did 4 remake.
Hey, if you want to talk about happiness, we can talk about Resident Evil. I love those things.
We'd say that for actually a full-blown topic one time.
Yeah, we should.
We can get deep into that.
Yeah, and I swallow those games whole when they. If you tell me which one to go back to, and I will finish it by the end of the day. Like that's where we're at with Resident Evil. I love those things. I heard someone describe it as like, I don't even want to say junk food, but it goes down so easy. It's like, oh, this just it never doesn't hit the spot. Like this is just
not a junk, but you call it comfort food.
Yeah, I would call it comfort food. Yeah, definitely. Because it I don't know, like I grew up with them, so there's that aspect of it. But I also, like, from a game design perspective, they nailed it immediately. Like they just figured it out. The fact that you go to Resident Evil anything today, the Resident Evils they're making today, those are the same design decisions they made in 1996. It's insane. They just figured it out, and I struggled to think of something that executed on its potential that fast. Other than
could you give a specific detail into what design decisions they made?
The limited inventory, the clunky by design controls. Like you go to Resident Evil 2 remake, right, and you try to shoot something, and it's not easy to get a headshot, and that's on purpose, right? And that is like the logical evolution of, okay, I have tank controls. It's just the next step of that, where okay, there is some kind of limitation to my character's mobility that makes this challenging, and that's tense and it's fun.
Yeah, and they also add the thing of if you just blast away, it's not as good as steadying the aim, and then the reticle closes, and then you go for the shot. Yeah,
and which is still rare by game standards. It was back then, it is today. Most games are like you shoot until you had your fill, and that's not what Resident Evil is. The puzzle box nature of like the level design, go back to Dark Souls, right, where it's this interconnected area that you're exploring. That's what Resident Evil is, the first one. You have this level, it's locked in a logical way, like doors are locked, you need keys to open them, and the way that they're locked guides you through the game, but it doesn't feel like it's guiding you, but it is, because it's so well designed that, like, okay, we locked this door, they really only have 2 ways they can go, and once they go one way, it's going to lead them back in the other way, but it's designed in such a way that you don't even understand that that's what's happening. Uh, it is just game design perfection. It's so good, and I don't know. I'm of the mind that I think the limited saves is a smart move because the game is not that long, right? Even if you didn't save and you died at the final boss, if you know what you're doing, you can get to that final boss in an hour and a half. Like it's not long enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like it feels more dangerous than it is, right? Again, perfect design where it's like, okay, this game's not long. Once they die, they learn the lesson of how and why they died. They will make a new decision. They will get here faster, and they will proceed. But the tension of like, okay, if I die and I haven't saved it in a while, I'm losing progress. That's kind of fun tension. It sucks when you die, but it's by design meant to scare you because otherwise the enemies would be nothing. Like, oh, if I spawn at the start of this room, who cares if there's a big monster in this room? It doesn't matter. I'll just run by it if I
adding
die.
to that, the utter relief of finding a safe room and a safe spot.
Yes, and the music, like it's like you open the door and before you even enter the room, you hear the don don don, like the calming thing, and then for fans of the series, they mess with you, like as the games progress, like, oh, this is a safe room until it isn't, right? And then it's so good. And then the remake is like, okay, here, if you've played the original, we're gonna mess with you. It's not gonna be this exact same 1-to-1, and we know that. We're gonna tease you. It's just a confidence, right? It's game design confidence. They know what they're doing. They have an experience they want you to have, and they're executing to that in better than I think any other game. I don't know. I'm talking myself into that and into thinking it's like the greatest game series.
We can do a deeper delve sometime. Especially
Absolutely.
in particular, I could talk an awful lot about Resident Evil 4 as that's my favorite.
Which is awesome.
I mean, comparing.
It's a different thing.
Yeah.
Because that is like they went in a wildly different direction. But I also think that's like game design perfection for a different reason. It's a different experience they want you to have, and once again, they execute on it perfectly.
All right,
so
we'll save the deep dive for another episode.
Definitely. All right. So now that you have an idea of the Game Awards nominees, that's technically the topic we're still talking about.
I'm going. The Elden Ring DLC is winning.
All right, so you got me there. All right, and is there anything coming up in terms of announcements that they could say that would get you super excited?
Oh, announcements! Release date for Death Stranding 2 would be cool.
Oh, you're a big Death Stranding. I haven't played the first Death Stranding.
I'm currently 27 hours into it. It's not just a boring walking game, folks. There's so much more to it.
I don't think anyone actually thinks that. I think, well, maybe they do, but they're wrong. I knew what he was going for. I don't want to say he. A lot of people made that game. I knew what they were going for. I haven't played it, but I don't know. I think that game got some unfair criticisms when it came out. I don't know anything about the story. I have no idea. But in terms of gameplay, whenever someone does anything other than, and this goes back to the Resident Evil clunky controls thing, right? Whenever anyone does anything other than like you are the most agile, responsive character on the planet, people just throw it under the bus. And I'm like, what? They're just not making that game. They're making a different game. Come into this game on its own terms. It's here. It's going to tell you what it's trying to do if it's designed well. And I'm sure it is. Like, they've been making games for a long time. So they know how to prepare you for the experience you're about to get. Just give it a shot. Don't immediately criticize it because it's not the thing you're used to.
So I haven't finished it yet, but so far, I think I'm maybe halfway through the story. I think it's better than MGS 5 and 4.
Ooh.
Yeah.
4, so... Okay. That's a complicated topic. That maybe we'll have to... Because I like 4 and I like 5 and I like them for vastly different reasons.
Oh, well, yeah, as in 5 is the gameplay peak of the entire
right.
series, and 4 is maybe Well, if you
If 4
it's a
is
bit
fan
long-winded,
service
but perhaps
incarnate, where it's like, okay,
yeah.
that's junk food. Metal Gear Solid 4 is junk food. And I'm okay with that. There's nothing wrong with some junk food sometimes, but that's what that is.
Yeah, personally, I feel like Death Stranding is the best thing Kojima's been part of in a long time.
Cool. I don't know. You're kind of selling me on it. I don't have time for everything. That's positivity is great. It's because everything is so amazing. I just don't have time for it all. Yeah. What am I excited about for the Game Awards, if anything?
Yes, tell me.
I don't know. What could I use? Like Resident Evil? Let's talk about Resident Evil again. No.
Another announcement for Resident Evil.
I mean, there could be. We don't know what Resident. Yeah.
The remake of Veronica.
It could be remake. It could be another remake. We don't know what Resident Evil 9 is yet. We know it exists. We don't know what it looks like. We don't know what it's about. Nothing. So yeah, I'll just say that just because I'm struggling to think of something else.
Do you think Veronica is that confirmed for a remake or?
I think they confirmed it wasn't.
Oh.
I think because that game sucks. That one I will say. That's a bit harsh. That game is not that great.
But folks did kind of like Veronica herself as a character.
Yeah.
Game.
Yeah. There were aspects of Code Veronica that they liked. And there are aspects of Code Veronica I like. But in terms of a game, it's not one of the better ones. And I think they just want to get past it.
Yeah. Do the main line.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll go back to it eventually. They're going to run out of Resident Evil games. We're getting there. They got 4.
I think they should be done. I don't think they should remake 5.
I don't think so either. It's new enough, right? It feels like it. We figured out games by then. It's not hard to play in that way, like it's over the shoulder. It's, I don't know. But then again, they remade 4 and I didn't think they needed to do that. So
after playing them back to back, I can kind of get it.
I kind of get it, but I also didn't think they needed to. Yeah.
Shall I move on to some old news?
Sure. I think that sounds good. Let's open up the Wikipedia for the year 2000.
I wish we could do what we initially planned, which was pick just a random.
Yeah, it was so hard to find. So I need to prepare better for that.
What about the Wayback Machine?
Yeah, well, it would, but it's so unreliable that I can't count on it live. I would have to go back and pick something. So yes, I think in the future that's way more fun. But for the pilot episode, let's just talk about some games that we enjoyed in the year 2000. You got any listed up there? Were there any Resident Evil games in the year 2000? Was Code Veronica released in the year 2000? It was.
Was it? What came out? Year 2000.
So this Wikipedia page lists off several sports games, which I'm going to ignore. Baldur's Gate 2, Diablo 2, Dragon Quest 7, Final Fantasy 9, which I love. Metal Gear Ghost Babel, which is the Metal Gear game for Game Boy.
Okay.
Resident Evil Code Veronica, Spyro Year of the Dragon. You a big Spyro guy?
Hey, I played that. That was really good.
So I went back and played the remake collection, whatever they call it, Reignited, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I had trouble getting into it because they're clearly designed for children, like in a way that it was not complex enough for what I was looking for. Not that that's bad. It's just it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask.
Hey, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on Majora's Mask? I pretty famously on this YouTube channel kind of ripped Majora's Mask apart. I say famously. I'm sure like 40 people watched it, but you know what I'm saying.
I've never played it, but I've heard interesting things about the story.
I kind of want to give it another try, just because I was pretty harsh on it, and I admire risky game design decisions these days in a way that I did not back then. And that is exactly what that is. Let's take one of the most revered games of all time and then use all the same assets, but completely change what that game is.
It was bold.
It was bold, yeah. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 also came out in the year 2000.
Yeah, I played a lot of that.
I did too. That was probably the one I played the most, actually.
I think so too. Was that one with it came with a demo?
Probably.
Well, back when demos were a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Demos are a thing again. Demos are back, baby.
Oh, it's been nice. I just actually that metaphor re-phantasmo.
Yeah, it has a demo.
It has a demo. That's. I'm gonna play that
play
over
that
the weekend.
demo.
Like,
yeah,
sweet.
What happens if you like get super hooked on it? Are you going for it?
Oh, then I gotta play Persona 3, then play Persona 4, then play Persona 5, and then play that one.
Well, I was gonna say, like, if you do that, I'll play Metaphor because it's on my list. But if you're gonna get into Metaphor and then have to go through the entire series again, then I'll hold off. I can wait.
Demos are great. The game A Plague Tale, those two.
I love Plague Tale.
So I thought I would, and I played the demo for the first one, but at the end of the demo, it just it wasn't quite there enough for me.
Yeah,
but I'm glad I had the demo.
There's some friction there. It is definitely not the biggest budget in the world. The second one actually has a way bigger budget, and you can tell. But I don't know. It was very. Again, it was another one of those times where it's like, I'm really tired of open worlds, and this is like the least open world thing in the world. So it was refreshing to say, like, okay, here's a hallway with some dudes that could kill you if they see you. Walk around them. Oh, there's rats. What if I threw a rock at that platform that made the platform fall down so I could jump on it and get across? And like, yeah, just give it to me. Basic stuff, and it was really refreshing at the time. I also played it right as my youngest son was born.
So this is the other thing I was going to say. I don't have children.
Yeah, I know you don't. But
I had
like
to protect this little child. Now with the Joel and Ellie's invincible and takes care of herself.
Yeah.
When I had to help the kid over a ledge into a barn, I was like,
stupid kid. Why aren't you invincible?
So I think there's also what's that game Stray, like if you don't own cats, you're not into cats.
Well, I'm not into cats, so like I would try to kill the main character immediately. But that's harsh. I don't want cats to die, but I'm not a big cat person. They're fine. But yeah, so Plague Tale, I played the first one entirely through with my son strapped to me. He was
that's a special experience.
He was like less than a year old, and if he was not being held, he was screaming his head off. So it's like, okay, I'm just going to strap him to me, and I'm going to stand up, and I'm going to hold my PlayStation 5 controller because it was on PlayStation Plus. So like I'm going to do that. And I had just gotten a PlayStation 5 as well. So it was like this great,
a lot going on. Yeah, everything kind of comes together.
It was great. I had a good time with Plague Tale, but Plague Tale not released in the year 2000.
Oh.
What was released in the year 2000? Deus Ex. We just talked about that.
Hey. Damn, it looks older.
It does look older. That was kind of PC games of that era, where it's like, okay, we're gonna do lighting and stuff, and you know, when you think about PCs, it has to run on everybody's computer, and they can't guarantee that everybody's got a good enough computer. So
yeah,
something like Spyro, like, okay, it's got to run on PlayStation. Everyone's gonna have the same PlayStation.
Yeah. So
we can make this look really, really good. Not so much with Deus Ex, where they're like, okay, not everyone's going to have a graphics card that can run this or whatever.
Them character models are something else.
Oh, yeah. But still seems like a fun game. I haven't played too much of it. I plan to play more of it. We'll see how that goes.
Do you know where the story goes?
No.
I'm very excited for you.
Cool. All right. Yeah, if you're on one of these times when I'm streaming it, you can come in and hang out.
When do you stream?
Right now, I was on streaming hiatus because I was dealing with work followed by the abrupt stop to my work. But usually around this time, not too long after this time, actually, is when I would normally start.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
Jet Set Radio. Are you
Are
you big Jet Set Radio guy?
Yeah, I played in arcades. Wait, no. I'm thinking of Crazy Taxi. I have not played Jet Set Radio.
Oh man, if Jet Set Radio was listening, he was very excited. And then he got very disappointed. Jet Set Radio, of course, being a sentient being that is listening to this podcast.
Sure.
Yeah. Just like the two auteurs that are watching your platinum journey.
They're Scorsese and Coppola.
Yeah. Exactly. And so you've got Scorsese and Coppola, and I've got the physical manifestation of a rollerblading game from the year 2000.
Hang on, I need to look up what Jet Set Radio. It does ring a bell, and the
You're on rollerblades and you graffiti.
It's quite bright and colorful, isn't it?
It is.
Jet Set Radio. It's on Steam. That's cool.
Maybe there's a demo.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know this. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you played it?
No. It's only €8.
Is there a wait? Is it on PlayStation? And are there trophies?
Are there trophies? I haven't looked. It's on Steam.
Yeah. You probably don't care about Steam achievements at all, right?
Oh no.
Yeah, no one does. I mean, keeping in mind, I don't care about achievements in general. I'm not a trophy hunter. I have, I believe, 2 trophies. Period. 2 platinums, I should say. Period. And they're both Astrobot.
Yeah. So for me, even the trophies, if there's no platinum, like if how do I put it? If a game is, to get the platinum, there's still a load of other trophies, kind of side stuff. As long as I got the platinum, that's done for me. I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, right? Where I'm kind of, if I see credits, then that I struggle to go back to. Because to me, it's like, okay, well, my emotional investment in this is over, and now I'm just playing a game. If I go back into it, I'm just, and there's nothing wrong with that if I like the game enough. But if it's like, okay, I'm enjoying my ride through the campaign, and I hit credits, the only reason to go back is for some arbitrary accomplishment that I have not done. It's not something I'm really into unless I love the game, which does happen occasionally.
I normally say that a trophy list should extend the lifespan of your favorite game.
Yeah. If I was a child and did not have disposable income, I would eat trophies up. Like I would, if Resident Evil 1 had trophies, I was basically designing my own trophies for Resident Evil 1, which is, can I beat the game using only the knife with no guns?
Which is now a trophy.
Yeah. Is it really?
Knife only playthrough, yeah.
If it is, then it might be something I look into, because that was a challenge that I made for myself. Or, do it without saving, do it without taking a certain X amount of damage or something like that. You would design your own to extend the lifespan of your game, and that's just kind of the next logical step of that, right? People, I guess, what was it, Xbox that kind of started the achievements thing, and then PlayStation followed suit. Yeah, so whoever came up with that, really, really smart. And if I was in a world where I only had access to a handful of games, I would just devour them. But as it is, pretty good. As it is, like my emotional attachment to the game is the experience I have, basically until the credits roll.
Yeah, I'm a little bit similar outside of making Platinum Journey. I kind of see credits, I'm good. Unfortunately, it's just an awful lot of trophy lists. They're not good. They're kind of, hey, go run over there and get 150 collectibles, and we don't provide any help on how to find them.
Yeah. There's definitely some bad trophies out there. Dead Rising was actually, so when the Xbox first came out, I was into trophies a little bit, or I guess achievements, and Dead Rising had some good achievements at the time. That was one where it's like, oh, I see the potential here.
It's like, take this weapon and do this with it, and you didn't even realize the weapon could do that.
Yeah, really smart, right? Just like, oh, it not only does it extend the life of the game, but it teaches you something about it.
Yep,
that's really cool. What do you have off the top of your head? I know we're getting off track here, but that's kind of the point of this, is to prompt discussion, so I'm going to roll with it. Do you have any favorite trophies off the top of your head, like favorite games?
Oh, yeah. The big turning point for me was Dead Space. After finishing it, kind of like flicking through the trophies, and you find out there's a trophy for beating the game with just the plasma cutter, the starting weapon.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I that's how I played that game because of that. So I guess I don't want, and it wasn't even necessarily that I wanted the achievement. I just wanted to. I felt like the achievement was taunting me. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, you don't think I can do this? You don't think I can? But then the plasma cutter's amazing. It's like one of the best weapons in video game history. So even when I tried the other weapons, I didn't want to use any of the other stuff. So I felt good about using only that, and it was perfectly viable. It wasn't hard, I would say, necessarily. It's just different.
So the thing that happened is once you only have one weapon, you only get ammo for one weapon.
Yeah.
I was running around with 4 weapons, and sometimes getting ammo for something I didn't really use as much.
Yeah. And correct me if I'm
wrong. You
wrong.
just have one weapon.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You get resources to upgrade your weapons, and if you're only upgrading the plasma cutter, that sucker
that gets powerful.
It gets
fast.
pretty rocking. So, yeah.
Yeah. So then I saw that, and then I saw that there was a trophy for beating it on the hardest difficulty. So that was another playthrough I got to do, and I was like, damn, this is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Then there was a trophy for getting all the collectibles, but most of the collectibles are you walk right by them. You might miss a few of them.
Yeah.
So then I used a guide to find the ones I missed, which added more story, like more text logs, more audio logs to just expand on the world. And I was like, this whole trophy thing is good.
Yeah. We got to talk about like the philosophy of trophies at some point, because there's a lot there. Because you bringing up that you got a guide, I'm sitting there thinking in my mind like, well, at that point you're definitely just doing arbitrary work, because you're looking up how to do it. At the same time, I would also and have done exactly that for Astrobot when I got it. Like there was a couple in there like, I don't know how to do that, and I'm going to look it up.
Mm-hmm.
And what compels us? What is the psychology behind doing that? Is it just we want to make sure we complete everything, or is it, yeah, who knows? But we'll have to talk more about trophies later.
Yep.
Perfect Dark, also released in the year 2000.
Never played Perfect Dark. Okay.
I never really much cared for those games. Either GoldenEye or Perfect Dark. I don't know why. Never got into them. I found it hard to play shooters on N64.
Yeah, they were a trick. I was part of GoldenEye kind of 4-player LAN parties, and I'd always get my ass kicked.
Yep, me too. And there's when someone picks the small character and he has a smaller hitbox than everybody else.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, it's true. Odd Job, I think his name is. It's true. It's absolutely true.
Some friends I have.
Soul Calibur, one of the Soul Calibur games has that where you get to play as Yoda, and he has a smaller hitbox than everybody else. So it's kind of cheating. This is a big one. The Sims.
Hey, I like The Sims.
I liked The Sims 1, the first one.
Didn't like any others?
I never played any others. I played The Sims.
Oh, Sims 2 is it's even better.
I bet you it is. So I was big into renting video games back then. And The Sims was on PlayStation 2. And that's where I played it. And I rented it and had a good time with it. By the time Sims 2 came around, I was kind of done with it. You said we're going to talk about this because there's Pokemon is on this list as well. But I did the same thing with Pokemon. I got really into the first set of games and then never touched it again.
I will say Pokemon, whatever generation you get into is probably your favorite. And then the next generation, you're like, hey, this is cool. But by the third generation, you're over it.
I was over it after the first one. It's not because once, I don't know, I guess I was right on the bubble of age, right? So when Pokemon came out, I was probably 9 or 10. Then when the next generation came out, 11, 12, like we're getting to the point where I'm eyeballing that stuff and kind of like, no, I'm too old for that. Yeah. I'm too cool.
Nobody dies. I don't want to play this. Where's Grand Theft Auto?
Even though in retrospect, it's kind of cruel what you do to those animals.
No, they want to fight each other all the time.
Yes. We do it because they like it.
Yeah. I'm just shoving rare candies down their throat to level up whether they want to or not.
It's just like my female coworkers at work. They like the compliments that I give them.
They do. They like when I pet them and tell them they're doing a good job.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep. Positivity. Happy times. Yeah. So, Skies of Arcadia, are you familiar?
I'm not.
It's a Japanese role-playing game. I've never played it, so we're just going to move on. Uh, SSX.
You don't have to go through every game on the list, you know?
No, it's not. We're only like we're two left here.
Okay.
SSX.
SSX. I think I played the second one a lot.
Tricky, which is the one everyone played.
That's it. Yeah.
Same here. I did play the original SSX. It was a launch game for the PS2. My friend had it, so we played a decent amount of it because there weren't a lot of games for the PS2 when it launched. Yeah. It's like that and Tekken.
Yeah.
And basically nothing else. In retrospect, remember when games used to have to launch with a good game, like a really good game, like, or when consoles would say like, "Okay, here's your Mario that's coming with this thing," or "Here's Crash Bandicoot and Tomb Raider." Well, Tomb Raider was until later, but
PS3 was Resistance and Oblivion and MotorStorm, and there's a flying game, Lair.
Oh, Lair.
PS4 was Killzone Shadowfall and something else. Can't remember what.
Now name the launch titles for the PS5.
There weren't any.
There weren't any launch titles for the PS5?
Like, there weren't any made specifically for it, right?
There had to be. But that's my point, is that unless they just expected you to play PS4 games.
Okay. First party PS5 launch games. Oh, well, Astrobot. Oh, no way. Demon Souls?
Yeah, there you go.
That was a launch game?
Yeah, that was a good game.
Damn. Okay, that's it. Those are the two.
But hey, there are games you can play.
Yeah, and then there's yeah. So
well, and then they had the like, oh, here are all the PS4 games that come with this thing.
Yeah, there's an upgrade or something.
Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima just came out. Let's give you an upgraded version of that.
Okay, so Demon Souls and Astrobot were the two ones.
Two more games here, and then we're done because we talked about Pokemon. Vagrant Story, are you familiar?
Nope.
I'm familiar. I haven't played it. Sin and Punishment, are you familiar?
Nope.
I am familiar. I haven't played it. We're done. That is the year 2000 in games. Nothing else came out.
That was not the segment we were supposed to do, but that's the one we did.
Apparently Banjo-Tooie came out that year as well. And a few other ones. Like, we're not going to go through the whole list, but it's a pretty decent year, looked like. Any others sticking? Soul Reaver came out that year. That was a cool game.
I suppose we're all glad the world didn't end in 2000.
We were all worried about that, weren't we?
I was petrified.
Were you actually? Please.
No.
Yeah. No, you weren't. No one. I wasn't, but a lot of TV shows were. A lot of, there was definitely some hysteria around it. Came and went. Did not happen. Chris Jericho took advantage of it.
He did.
Which was fun. Yeah. I remember that time. It's a different time. Year 2000. It's a long time ago. Yeah. So that's it. The year 2000. And it's time to wrap up with one more thing, and it is a moment of pessimism. That's what we got here.
Ah, yes.
We get to be negative for a little bit. Yes, we get to bring it down right at the end. We leave you on a sour note. That's what this podcast is for. We uplift you just so we can bring you back down at the end, so it hurts a little bit more.
Okay. I'll go with my small moment of pessimism because yours is much bigger.
Okay.
It's my small moment of pessimism. I had to move around my whole goddamn room to record this. Now once I finish, I gotta move everything back around again. It's gonna take me 20 minutes, and that's my moment of pessimism.
I had to move one table that was behind me because it was dirty, and I didn't want to clean it, and even I'm pretty upset by that. I'm like, now I gotta move it back. It's gonna take me 15 seconds.
I gotta move a tripod, a camera, this and this and this.
Have you tried lowering your quality? Like, just don't put any work into it. Like, have a crappy webcam and like make it green.
Randy, next time I'll record off this laptop camera. You test me.
If you look pretty good on that thing, I will say. Like, you look better than I do on my camera. So if
I might switch this next time, then that'll
be
easy on me.
Yeah, there you go. I've got no problem with that, and I don't think the viewers will either. Let us know in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe. Give us money. I don't think I have a route for that, but find a way to do it.
That's
I'll give you my home address, and you can just mail me a check.
Instead of saying like and subscribe, it's like, comment, give me money.
Give me money, like likes and comments. I can't eat on that, because my moment of pessimism was that I was laid off, right? And it sucks. Like, that's one thing about the game industry that's objectively bad, is that people keep losing their jobs and projects are getting canceled, and we're focusing on the wrong things as opposed to, instead of trying to get sustainability in the industry where people can work and enjoy what they're doing and create cool stuff, we are more worried about growth and whatever way we can exploit people and their money, and it sucks. And that is what has led to the situation we're in today, where we have placed very big bets on trends that were established years ago, and they're not paying off today, and people are losing their jobs as a result. And it's a shame. I wish I didn't lose my job. I wish the thousands of people in the industry that lost their jobs did not lose their job. And that's my moment of pessimism. I'm going to be angry about that for a little bit, and I think that's justified.
I think so too.
All right. Adam, you have been wonderful, and it was very, very, very fun talking to you again. I remember why we did this. This was fun.
Yay.
I
feel the same.
Is there anything you would like to advertise to the people?
Yes. Everyone watch more of Randy's stuff.
Oh, thank you. There's not a lot there.
Tell them what you put out today.
Yeah, you've been put. All right, first, Adam McDermott on YouTube, Platinum Journey. You just got to type that in. You'll get there, and you should do it because it's great. I guess we'll talk about my stuff for a moment, because Adam set me up. Now there's pressure. I started a Let's Play of the original Resident Evil in 2008, and it's a really long game. You got to understand. So I have made the next installment of that series, and I released it on Tuesday of this week, which is the time of this recording, but not the time of this publication. So go watch that. That's fun. People think I'm funny. So
Randy.
Yeah.
2008 is when you started this?
2008. I remember very explicitly what happened there. So I was like immediately post high school, had like no direction in life. I was in my mother's attic, and I'm like, I need something to do. And I loaded up Resident Evil. I turned on my really crappy microphone. You can tell as soon as you hit play on the first video, there's a microphone buzz. It's bad. But people still to this day send me messages about how much they love that thing. And I thought, You know what? I'm going to give back to those people that want to see the conclusion to this thing. I did various things around it and after it. I did play through the game on stream before, and I've tried to complete it, but people still just want an officially numbered installment of this thing. So there it is. Part 13, Resident Evil, Chris Knife Run, began in 2008, concluding in 2024, which is a normal thing people say.
But this isn't done, though. There's still more parts.
Still not done. I do intend to finish it before the end of this year. So
before the end of this millennium.
At the end of this decade, because this has spanned 2 decades at this point, which is unacceptable.
A 2-decade-long Let's Play.
Yeah, I mean that's what you come to. That's what you come to my channel for. That's the unique hook I have, is just wildly inconsistent. Yeah.
Okay.
So other than that, you can find me at randyfluharty.bsky.social, I guess, is my Blue Sky account. I don't, there's a couple things on there. Fun fact, the voice of Sly Cooper followed me on that website, because I posted for my game, which I will advertise in a moment. I do voice acting for my game, and I posted a clip of some of my voice acting on Blue Sky, and the voice of Sly Cooper saw it and he liked it and followed me, which was kind of neat.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. So the voice of Sly Cooper, if there's ever a Sly Cooper game that comes out, go back to the Game Awards for a second. I would take another Sly Cooper. Why not? That'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then my game, which is let's see if I can do an elevator pitch here. It's a precision platformer, 2D platformer about empathy, where a ghost version of yourself taunts you while you play.
Good pitch.
As the pitch. And there are some cool ghost-like abilities that you have when you play. So go to that. It's tinyurl.com/in-corporeal. I'm going to verify that that's the address right now. I think it is. And go and wishlist that if that is the address. It is. It works. The art is placeholder right now, but it will be better. Making a game is hard. Being one person making a game is much harder. So bear with me while I update the visuals and stuff like that. And that is about it. Thank you, everyone, for listening / watching. If you're watching or listening, I greatly appreciate it. For the handful of you that are going to. And as I said, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on everything, and then give me money. Like, I'm not sure how you're going to do that, but that's just something you got to do.
Would you like to dox yourself?
Yep. Here, let me just get out, and I'll give you my home address, social security number, credit card number, everything like that. I'll edit it in. I can just add that information at the back end there. Yeah. So we're gonna be back in 2 weeks, and I think the day that these are gonna go up is on Thursdays. So 2 weeks from now, of the time of this recording, it will be look at the upload date and add 2 weeks to that. That's when the next one will be.
We'll have the results of the Game Awards.
That's true. We can talk about it. Yeah. And poorly aged things. This podcast.
Yeah.
As of
metaphor,
2 weeks from now.
Metaphor wins. Definitely metaphor wins.
It already won, as you said.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Adam, so much. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thanks, Randy.
And I'm going to cue music if I have it. I do, actually. So that's cool. All right. Goodbye.